Good afternoon. This is Andrew Finkelstein from Busy Salons, and today we're going to do a webinar about something called Salon Ops, and I have the pleasure of introducing you, our audience here, to Derek Hall. So, how are you today?
How are you today, Andrew?
Just doing great. Just doing great. So tell me, Derek,
Sure.
How'd you get started in the industry, Derek?
My wife and I have been involved in the industry for about 30 years, both working at salons and most recently owning salons.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in the business industry for the majority of those years, owning several businesses. And my wife wanted to get back into the industry after raising our child. And we purchased a salon, and here we are.
Great. And so that's really something. So tell me, Derek, with your business, you got into the industry and you opened a salon, or
Okay.
you and your wife opened a salon.
We opened a salon, and we did like most salon owners do. We went out, recruited staff, paid large bonuses to get the staff, tried to get stylists with followings, so on and so forth, and paid commission pretty much along the lines of the industry, paying high commissions, expecting to make money. Well, after a little while, we found that it wasn't so glorious, we'll put it that way. My wife was working the majority of the time behind a chair to support the salon.
Oh my gosh. And what were you doing at the time?
I was running a public employees union. I've run unions up to the point of being a president for approximately 20 years. And this was something we were in a financial position to do. So I figured, hey, my wife wants to open a salon. Sure, we'll open a salon. But again, it was more of her buying herself a job instead of buying a business.
Well, that's something else. So she bought herself a job. You're working another job, and at the meantime, what was happening in that salon?
Probably the same thing that's happening in 90% of salons. We were taking my salary or her salary to keep the doors open a lot of the months. January, February, the historic slow times, it was us paying the rent, and the employees were the only people making money in the business. And I saw this as a broken business model coming from the business world. I said, hey, what's going on? Where's all this money going? So I didn't educate myself properly at first when opening the business. I thought, hey, you're getting 50% of what they're making. You're paying them 50%. There must be a large profit margin. Come to find out, there was no profit margin after paying all the bills. So I got very frustrated at that point and started researching other businesses.
That sounds very frustrating. And you started researching other businesses, and then what?
Well, I'll tell you, my wife and I decided we were, at that point, going to buy into another business and shut the doors because she was killing herself and we really weren't making any money. I mean a little bit, like most owners do. They might bring home some money on the better months, but the majority of time she was working to keep the doors open, and that is just not proper business. A business is supposed to generate money for you. You're not supposed to generate the money for the business. So in looking at other businesses, we explored several. We had owned a chain of tanning salons and some other things in the past, but we looked into the health club industry, and we spoke with a larger chain, and they explained basically how they make money at charging such a low monthly fee. And during dinner that evening with them, a light bulb went off in my head, and I said, hey, why isn't anybody doing this in the salon industry?
Why wasn't anyone doing this in the salon industry?
Because everybody jumps on the same broken ship. If they're doing it this way, I should do it that way. People are afraid to take the chance. And I give them credit that they're a business owner, but taking a chance as a business owner when your whole livelihood depends on it, it's very difficult sometimes. Most salon owners expect different results by doing the same thing that everybody else is doing, and that just doesn't work. You have to be able to make that commitment to make a change, and a large change in this case. But we had the ability to do that. So my wife and I got together and we said, hey, let's give it a shot. Worst case scenario, we're back to where we were. We shut the doors and do something else.
So giving it a shot, what did that mean to you?
To me, it meant, well, for the first 2 years, I sat and built this business model on paper, to be honest with you. Just making sure that it did make sense, doing my research. And it meant extensive research onto how to make this model work in the hair industry. Obviously, there's some different things. We had to deal with the commission structures. We had to deal with the price of product, hair color, things like that. So I wanted to make sure on paper it made sense before we tried it.
And what did it look like on paper?
On paper, the profit margins were hitting in the area of 50%. So obviously, you know, we see in the Green Book, Salon Green Book, and some other industry reports that the average salon this year is between 0 and 7% profit margins.
0 and 7%.
Correct. And you have to take into account that part of that profit, most of the time, is the owner working behind a chair. So
in other words, what you're saying is the salons themselves aren't, as a business, making money. Is that what you're saying?
No, the industry, 90% of the industry right now is not making money. And that's sad because people put their whole livelihood into these businesses, presuming they're going to make money out of their business instead of them carrying the business.
That is sad. People put their hearts and souls and bank accounts on the line.
Correct.
So you put something down on paper. You had the wherewithal to, let's say, stem the tide. And at what point in time did you decide to, let's say, pull the trigger?
Well, after the 2 years, my wife and I sat down with the staff and we told them what we were doing. We gave them all the ability to leave the salon if they'd like, or to stay on commission if they'd like. So our system is not, you don't have to make huge changes at first. It's more of a change for the business owner, for the better. And at some point, the stylists get on board. They have no choice, which I'll explain to you in a little while. But we made that commitment. We did it at our salon. And I think it was the best thing we ever did at the salon.
So obviously you had it down on paper. And even that you had it down on paper, what was going through your head at times? Or maybe nothing was going through your head?
Through my head, the worst it could do is not hit the 50% profit margin. Because math doesn't lie. It's a simple formula. If the math is there, it has to work. So I was worried more so about my wife, who is more of a stylist than she is on the business side. And she was concerned about the hairstylist, whether they go along with it or not. And we both decided together to pull the trigger.
Her concern about whether the stylist would go along with it or not was based upon what?
Change. Everybody is afraid of change.
And with change, I guess as a salon owner, she must have had nightmares about that dreaded salon word walkout, I imagine, which is...
She did. And honestly, one thing I was able to explain to her is whether there's a walkout or not, if you're not making any money in the salon, it doesn't matter. Paying somebody 60% commission when you're actually losing money on them, if they walk out the door, sure, you don't want them to go if they're a talented stylist. But frankly, they're costing you money, not making you money as a business.
Costing you money just by being there. That's
correct.
hmm And so is there, let me ask you, in the older model, commission-based model, whatever we want to call it, would there be any magic number that someone could say, hey, I'm paying my team this magic number and I'm making money?
Well, from the industry and from my experience after running the numbers, I would say that it is somewhere around 35%. Paying any more than 35%, you're probably losing money or just squeaking by. So that was something we had to look at, Andrew, study extensively as to how the stylists will be compensated for their work. So along with this system, aside from the membership, we have created a completely different compensation system, not taking money away from the stylist. Actually, the stylists in this system that we've had work for us make quite a bit more money.
So you're saying with what you're doing, you have people who are making more money than they made before.
I'll give you an example, Andrew. We had stylists that we put on the floor within 1 year. They were making $80,000 a year. The industry average right now through Salon Green Book is approximately $27,000 a year.
$80,000.
That's correct.
That's pretty darn good, Derek.
Especially good.
That's in a, how would you describe the location of the salon? That's not a New York City or...
No. Our first salon was located in Spring Lake, New Jersey, a very small town, upscale for sure, but not upscale in price. The area that we were in, people tended to mind their dollars more than they would in a lot of places. So, of course, we thought there were $1 million homes surrounding the neighborhood. We would open and we'd make $1 million, like probably most salon owners think. Unfortunately, it didn't work that way.
So, tell me, what is Salon Ops?
Okay, so after, I'll give you a little background history, just to step back for a minute, Andrew. After this system working in our salons, and I say salons because we quickly opened another 30-chair salon after having the first one, and it was wildly successful in that salon also. My wife and I decided, through a friend of ours actually approached us and said, hey, look, you need to go out and share this with the industry. Running the salons it took up most of our time. So we decided to open a consulting company and sell the salons. We sold our salons to our niece, who has since also opened in Hollywood with this concept. So we knew our system was safe with those salons by selling it to our niece. We then moved on to Salon Ops, as we call it. And Salon Ops is a consulting company, but we like to think of ourselves more of a change company. Change is a good thing. It can be a good thing. People are afraid of it, but to do what you want to do in this world, you have to be able to take that leap of faith and make change. So my wife and I are out there helping other owners with our business system.
Well, would you agree that most salon owners who are generally working side by side with their team develop a relationship with their team, a positive relationship, that the economic relationship hasn't worked out as for both sides as well as it could have? It's just something that occurred because of the model that they set up. But the salon owners have the best interests of their staff in heart, and that's why you, as you described it, walk on eggshells, because you want it to work, because it needs a little bit of time, from what I heard you say, to develop the business model so that people are actually earning, which they do, more money. Someone didn't go from $30,000 to $80,000 overnight. It took months.
Absolutely. It does take time. The relationship changes, obviously, in everybody when you're making more money, for the owner and for the stylist. And it is a leap of faith for the stylist also if the owner gives that ability. When we started the system, we gave the ability of the stylist staying on commission and taking the empty chairs we had in the salon and the junior stylists and putting them on the new system. Within a few months, the junior stylists were making more money than the senior stylists. So that's when you start seeing the hands raise and say, hey, maybe I want to reconsider this. But Andrew, ultimately, and through the industry, one of the facts this year was that, let's say the average salon has, I believe it was 8 chairs this year, the average salon. Of course, there's bigger, smaller, but the Green Book published 8 chairs. They said out of that 8 chairs, 2.5 chairs of those 8 chairs are generally empty. In other words, they're not producing. And empty chairs equal empty dollars. So there's always the ability to start in a piece and move towards the whole.
Well, I always say to people that I've done business with, when you open the doors, it's like every morning you're taking an airplane from New York to Los Angeles. And if you leave with empty seats, those seats will never, you'll never fill them. You've lost the time. You've lost the day. And you just cannot recapture that time, that capacity, as we call it.
That is correct.
So how does this thing work? Why does it work?
Okay, let's examine our system in general, and then I can get into the details, Andrew.
Okay.
The first thing is it's a membership-based system, as I had said earlier.
Okay.
The perception of let's call them the clients, not the shop owner, of the clients in today's market is that they love memberships because they don't perceive it as something coming out of their pocket that day. Comes out of my bank account automatically. It's a convenience item. So that's why it works. Let's face it, everybody would love to have the ability to go get their hair done whenever they want based on one monthly fee. It's a no-brainer. Oh, I want to get my hair blown out on a Friday night. I can go do that. And it doesn't cost me anything. It does cost them something, but they don't perceive it as costing anything. So as far as attracting clients, it's just so easy to attract clients. I know that a lot of industry salon owners run away from Groupon, Living Social, things like that. We have a 70% plus conversion rate on Groupon because this is an even better deal than Groupon. Groupon people jump from shop to shop. This locks them into your salon. Now that's as far as attracting clients. Now, retaining clients, it's pretty easy. The client is under contract with your salon, the same as they would be with a gym membership. Okay, so now we get to managing costs. You have a fixed income. You know, based on how many members you have, exactly what is coming through your door every month, which is such a huge bonus because most salon owners get to the end of the month and go, how much do I have in my bank account? Can I pay my bills? Can I pay my rent? This is all budgeting. You know what's coming in, guaranteed. You know what your bills are. So anything above that is gravy.
In other words, for most salon owners, there's too much month at the end of the money.
I love that saying, Andrew. That is 100% true. And the last thing, which is the biggest thing for me, standing alongside my wife when we owned the salon, was worrying every night about walkouts. Who's going to grab their friend? Are they unhappy this week? Constantly pandering to employees. Employees are important. They're valuable. I love the people that work for us, but they hold you as if they own the business. And that is not, I don't know of any other business where you can walk in and say, I'm going to get 50% of what you make, and I'm going to tell you what to do. So most owners go home every night and they say, oh my God, are they going to walk out tomorrow? Well, this stops that because the client is under a contract with the salon. So the client becomes a salon member. Okay.
So most people, when they hear contract, think complication. Tell me how the clients perceived the contract that you had?
They want, honestly, Andrew, they want the deal. There are so many things now that people sign contracts for in today's generation that it's a common occurrence. Where in the past it wouldn't have been, now it is. It's just what's been ingrained in everybody's mentality. I mean, the majority of people have been at a health club or a tanning salon or something that involves a contract these days. So doing it at a salon and doing it for such a good price, where they now see that they don't have to wait for their roots every 8 to 10 weeks. They can come in 4 weeks, and it's included.
That's a huge benefit, I would say.
Absolutely, Andrew. Attracting and maintaining clients is probably the easiest thing to do with this. Very few say anything about the contract. And look, this isn't only a membership system. You are allowed to purchase the services a la carte, just like a regular salon. Because we don't want to make ourselves so exclusive that we send business somewhere else.
So someone could come in and just have a regular service,
absolutely,
not buy a membership, and then have an opportunity to buy a membership.
Correct. If they love that service, then what we had done at our salons, if they love that service today, it's no cost. We'll convert you over to a membership today, if that's what you want to do. If you don't want to be a member, you're welcome to pay full price.
So the membership price, so to speak, all in would be less than what someone would pay full price.
It is. Obviously it is. That's the attraction. But having guaranteed income versus worrying about when somebody is coming through the door, or if they're putting off their service because they can't afford it, now you have a set income where that's fine. I don't have worries about paying my bills anymore because, hey, it's January and everybody spent their money for the holidays.
So tell me how it works. Let's say one of our audience says, I want to give this a whirl. I want to at least explore a little bit of how this could work for me.
Well, the first thing we do is we go in and we analyze the company. We sit down with the owner. We go through their numbers, which a lot of owners don't do, Andrew. I can't tell you how many salons we've been into that didn't know what their bottom line was, didn't know their frequency of visit, didn't know many things, basically just winging it at the end of the month. And that's not how to run a business. So we hold them by the hand and teach them how to run their salon as a true business. We install software. We provide the technical support on the software. This is all included. We train their stylists. We train their stylists on how to sell the program. We train the owner how to sell the program and achieve their vision. So basically, we almost become an absentee owner for them on the business side.
I see. And each salon is different. Some salons are a little more complex, offering more services. They may even offer some beauty services. How do you deal with
That's part of what we do. When we go in and we analyze what they do, Andrew, we analyze all those things, their market pricing, their services, and we sit down and we design a custom package directly for them, pricing, different membership packages. We have salons that offer medical services in our membership program, Medi-spas. We have salons that offer spa services in the program. So this program is customized specifically for whatever salon. It's not a cookie cutter. This is us actually becoming their business partner.
Could you offer a membership program to one component of your salon? Let's say you have a day spa. Could you have a beauty membership and not a membership for the hairdressing?
That is all dependent on what the owner wants to do. Okay. Absolutely. We recently have set up a couple memberships for product clubs, we call them, or bottle clubs, to boost retail in salons.
So that sounds extremely interesting, because I know everyone out there would love to increase their retail sales, and everyone is looking for Let's put it this way, a new silver bullet, although I know Salon Ops is not a silver bullet. It's real world, tried and true, tested systems that work if you work them. But helping.
Let's give a freebie to the guests today, Andrew.
Absolutely.
Here is what you can do to boost your retail sales. We've all, as owners, had the product companies in saying you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to, and frankly, none of it really works. It works for a short time, and then the stylists get back to doing what they do. Stylists are creative, they're artists, they love to be in the hair. They don't like to sell product for the most part. Some do, but it's rare. So how do we fix that? There's an easy solution, and I can't take credit for it, Andrew. I took something and modified it. One day in the mail, I got a box from Proactive, which is that facial solution on TV. And I asked my daughter about it, and she said, "Oh yeah, Dad, I joined this." I said, "Well, great, thanks for telling me." And again, the light bulb went off in my head, and I said, "Boy, why aren't we retailing like they're doing in the salons?" So we took our membership model and we created a retail package where the customer gets their 2 favorite products, or whatever number you want to make that, free every month. But in turn, it's not free because they're paying their membership. So they take those products, and of course it's at a discount, but it moves the product off the shelf. Wow. It keeps the money revolving. And you can double your retail sales with this very easily.
Fantastic. That sounds absolutely exciting, almost a no-brainer, but I know it's not.
Well, it is and it isn't. The beauty is it takes the selling away from the stylist. Not if they want to sell it, that's fine, because we give bonuses on all of our membership packages to our stylist. But if it's the front desk or whoever it is, once it's sold one time, it is now an automatic thing. So the money is there every month. The product is moving every month. It's great for the salon, great for the supply house, and great for the customer, because the customer is now getting their product automatically, where they don't have to go, "Oh, should I spend that money this month? Should I go to Rite Aid and buy the product?" Because you know, as we all do, that's the most frustrating thing in the world. And most of the time, it's not a price thing. It's that they're at that wherever they might be, Walmart, a drugstore, or whatever, and they're purchasing that product because it's in their face. Now we take that away and we give the customer a better price, and the salon is moving the product like it should.
And it seems to me you take a lot of pressure off of both the owner and the stylist to sell.
100%. It makes it a very... it lifts a big weight off of everybody's shoulders.
That is worth the price of admission, Derek. So after you do the first stage, which we'll call the understanding the information gathering, so you understand the business dynamics, and so the owner understands her business a little bit better, what's the second step?
Well, the second step is we come in for a second meeting and we explain where we are. We do a customized business plan, which some people pay thousands of dollars. That's included. So we give them a goal to move towards, not just an imaginary goal, something that's on paper. When you follow something on paper and you have a clear system, it's much easier than just guessing. So we do that. We customize their membership packages. We recommend the pricing for those packages. Of course, it's up to the owner to make those final decisions. These are only recommendations. We install our software programs, and we schedule the initial launch with their goals and their targets. The initial launch usually we'll do as a soft opening, and then once they get it down for about a week, we'll actually put out the advertising with them to get that hard opening done.
So installation of software programs, Derek, I'm sure our audience is thinking, well, I already have a software program, and most of them, I'd say 98% of them do, a Millennium or Shortcuts, or
correct.
For those folks who are working Macintosh, there's, I believe, the XTS. Um, is this in addition to what they already have? How does that?
Well, what we do is we have actually we include Millennium with our package. So we convert their software from whatever they're in to Millennium because we have a custom plugin for Millennium that allows us to do these memberships the way we want to do them.
Uh-huh.
But it's not an additional cost to them. The conversion, the software, it's all included.
Uh-huh. Could someone do this program and say use a Milano system, a non-Millennium system?
If their system allows memberships, then sure, they could do it. We would have to tweak it a little bit differently.
Uh-huh. Well, it's a great software. And what I hear you saying is if someone has another software that they're, because there are many fine softwares out there that they're working with and they're used to, there can be a way.
Yeah, we've had several that we've worked with already. Booker, Body. There are a few out there, and we've worked with them also to do the memberships within that system. So it can be done.
Okay, great. So now we've set up the business plan. We've customized the membership packages. There's pricing plans. Obviously, the owner has the final say on all this. You're just making the recommendations, and the recommendations are coming from a place of helping the owner maximize her income, obviously, and the salon's income. You're making marketing recommendations. Oh, by the way, does this require additional dollars for marketing?
It does not. It does not. The beauty of this system is the marketing behind it. Aside from the membership, we do several. We've actually borrowed several marketing ideas from the health club industry. One is sign a member, get a month free. We've had members sign up 12 people and get a whole year free. Now, to me, I personally would do that all day because the retention rate is over 95% with this system. So that's one way of marketing. I get back to Living Social and Groupon. 70% on that while you're making money. You're getting paid to advertise. If you have a free open chair or a free non-productive space, by that I mean a stylist sitting around not doing anything, they're losing you money. I would rather take that Groupon, convert it into a smaller price that day and have the stylist active and have them have the ability to convert that person to a membership. So there are a lot of ways to do this without spending big dollars on advertising.
Mm-hmm. Got it. That's terrific. So the final step, number 3, we have a 1, 2, 3, which personally I love. Easy. Tell us about the third step.
Well, the final step is a meeting with the team, a meeting with the owner to create an atmosphere of teamwork, motivating people to sell packages. We break down the system for the salon, how it'll benefit the salon, the stylist, and the clients, because let's not forget, aside from the salon, and the most important thing is clients and keeping the clients happy. Mm-hmm. So we also, if the owner requests, we sit down and we address the stylist individually. If the owner requests, some owners are afraid to speak to their own stylist. So we have that ability where we can communicate based on our years of being in the industry to alleviate their worries.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Well, I said there were 3 steps, and there are really 3 steps towards the launch. The launch itself is the 4th step. So tell us about the launch.
Well, on the launch date, obviously that's our go live date, Andrew. We will have everything up and running for that owner, supporting them on that launch date with their marketing, what they can do to really get the word out for that day, and answering any questions from both the stylist, the owner, and more importantly, the clients. They're going to get a lot of questions from clients like wondering, hey, why is this so fantastic for me? And they have to know what those answers are. So basically, Salon Ops gives you 24/7 support, which is actually true. Our lines are open all the time. So there's always somebody there to support the salon. It's not as like some of the people that come in our industry and teach you how to sell product and charge you thousands of dollars and disappear. We are there to hold your hand 24/7 for the length that you are in business.
And so off and going.
And again, this gets back to basically what I had said earlier. Ongoing, we are there to consult on any questions they might have. Our team, including yourself, we have the answers based on our experience in the industry to lead the owner in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I should say that there are many years of experience in years, yeah, and also years of now experience with running the membership model. So that's quite something.
Modeling is a very important thing in life. If you want to be successful, I've always learned to model a successful person. Mm-hmm. So we've gone and made our mistakes. Now we've learned how to be successful. So we want to share that with other people.
Mm-hmm. So you've presented to me a couple of what we'll call the nuts and the bolts, a couple of examples. And obviously everyone has to realize that these are just examples, and should you get into the Salon Ops program, everything is really customized to your individual business, because prices are different, locations are different, services are different, etc. So tell us a little bit about what the membership looks like.
This is a sample membership. Mm-hmm. Obviously, this could change for different areas. If you're on Rodeo Drive, these are probably going to be triple the price. If you're in, let's say, South Carolina and not a hybrid producing area, these might be your prices. But I like to put something that's reasonable down on paper so that people just get the gist of what it might look like. Now, these prices here, I'll go through them quickly. The single is going to be your most important membership for any salon, and basically you can call it whatever you want, but it's unlimited blowouts, single process hair color, and haircuts. Now, that price, $69.99, if you add the join-up fee, which our memberships all have, and then they also have a maintenance fee similar to a health club, you're averaging through all the memberships about, on this one that I showed, about $100 a month per member.
$100 a month.
The high members and you take the low members, you're going to average about $100 per member.
Mm-hmm.
So simple math tells you, based on that, $100 per member. If I sign up with 1,000 members, which a 10-chair salon can easily support, that's $100,000 a month. I don't know about you, Andrew, but if I had 10 chairs and I'm doing $100,000, I'm a happy person.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm just thinking out loud here, Derek. Let's say you're running a salon that does $100 haircuts. Mm-hmm. And the average person, we'd like to say, comes into any salon every 6 to 8 weeks. So let's say they come in between 6 to 8 times a year.
Correct.
Okay? At the high, 8 times 100 is 800. Already someone's ahead of the game. I mean, the salon's ahead of the game, and basically the person, the member, is ahead of the game by spending only $100 a month. She can have those other services.
And that's the really funny thing. Look at the price that we just talked about, Andrew. You said $100. This is $69.99, and they're getting the other services. But you think about that. Over a year, that's $1,200 versus $800. That's guaranteed versus maybe. So that's why the membership system works so well.
Mm-hmm. I'd encourage the people on the phone call to really look at what their average salon customer is spending and what their retention of that customer is on an annual basis, because it can lend some reality to it. And I imagine that, Derek, when you do your inquiry, when you do the review of someone's business, you go into all of that with them.
Yeah, it's funny when I actually look at the numbers because you are 100% right, Andrew. Most of the time, you're really looking at 6 times a year. And did they retain that customer? The retention rates on a membership are 95% plus. So it's such a winner for an owner. It is, and it's a winner for the customer. It really is, because now, let's say on a Friday night, and I use this as the biggest sales pitch to teach stylists. I say, look, they have this membership. All you have to do is say to them, are you going out on Friday night with your husband or your wife or whatever the case might be? You can stop in and get your hair blown out. Look, what is frustrating in this industry from the hairdresser side or from an owner side is to see all that hard work you put into doing somebody's hair, and the next day it looks like a rat's nest because they don't know how to style it themselves. Now they have the ability to come get a blowout a couple times a week if they'd like and look salon fresh every day. Now your advertisement walking around looks like it should, and that's another way of advertising.
Yeah.
Work.
And those are things that are in the business. Everyone knows word of mouth is the best advertising.
Absolutely.
And when you have someone who can come to you more frequently, they're advertising more often for you. So it makes sense. I'm going to put on another slide here, and at the same time, I think we can answer some of the questions that we have up. Phil says, how do you compensate the stylist against membership services? So knowing what the next slide is.
Next slide. There you go.
Now, just remember, Phil, and this is a typical, just like the pricing was typical for membership. So, everything will be adjusted, but here's how it works.
So let me explain this just a little bit. This is just taking into account if you were to do starting at the minimum wage. Now, the minimum wage here in New Jersey, where we're located, is $8.25. It might be different in different states, but this is just an example. We've designed pay structures that are considerably more than this. But taking into account an hourly rate, this is how we pay. We pay an hourly rate. Whatever that rate is that the owner decides on, we go over it in our customized package. But basically, we're paying a base salary. It's paid in hours, but it is a base salary. So let's just use towards the end there. I'm going to make it an even number, just for sake of explaining. If we take a base salary of $500 for the week for the stylist, okay, and they sign up memberships, I don't call them commissions, I call them bonuses. I don't like the word commission. Commission is what ruined this industry. Bonuses sound better, they work better. So we give a bonus on each person that this person signs up. In other words, if they sign a member up, let's say that member is on a $100 a month club. That stylist gets a $50 bonus for that. Okay, so you take that into account. The average stylist is going to be making, just in bonuses and salary, getting into it a little bit, I'd say 6 months in, they're going to be making $1,000 a week in their base, okay? And that's just 6 months in. Now you take into account, this is the fun one. What are the tips going to be? Tips aren't required in any industry. Obviously, in our industry, most people look at it as a given. They should look at it as a gift if somebody gives it to them, because there's too many stylists that just say, oh, I should get a tip. No, you should do your work well, and then you get a tip, and you appreciate that tip. But let's take this system into account. If I am perceiving that I am not paying anything when I come through the door, okay, and frankly, I'm not paying the salon anything for that visit that day. It's already come out of my account automatically through my membership. What is that person more apt to do perceptually? If you were in that case, what would you do?
I'd be very generous.
Correct. So the tips we've seen in the salons we've done this with pretty much double. So you might get a $20 bill for a blow dry, where in the past that blowout was only $35. So stylists on average are making a couple $100 in tips on that. So they're making maybe 1,000, maybe more a week in tips also.
Sounds like the salon itself, if that's happening, is busier, bustling, and clients like that.
You should be able to do with this system 50 to 100 new clients every month very easily if you weren't doing 5 or 10 in the past. It's such a remarkable system. When the salon gets busy, the stylists aren't sitting, they're making money. Their quality of work goes through the roof, because I would take that stylist who does 10 haircuts a day in the membership system versus that stylist that does 1 haircut a day at $100. It's just because they're doing those 10 haircuts, their skill level increases. Now, as far as the pay, as the gentleman had asked earlier, stylist pay tends to go up. I mean, the example I just used, you're at $2,000 a week with tips. God, that's easy math. That's over $100,000 a year.
So you would mention the $80,000 mark before. So these numbers are consistent.
Yeah, and they are. I mean, it's simple math. If you pay somebody $500, they're making another $500 in bonuses. That's $1,000, even if it's a little less, and they're still making definitely on average $1,000 a week in tips. So, hey, Andrew, I'll give you an example. We were so busy in one of our salons that the shampoo assistants were making $400 and $500 in a day.
Wow.
In a day. Okay, so that goes to show what this system can do.
That's tremendous. Tamara asked the question, have you tried this with a men's lounge salon?
We have not done it specifically with just men, but we do it in salons with men. If you flip back a page, Andrew, you can see right there, we have one, we call it the membership. You can name it whatever you want, but it's unbelievably popular. We just started a salon here in New Jersey with the system last month, and I believe she's up to 40 men joining already, because if the woman comes in, the wife, she's going to get her husband to join. It's kind of a no-brainer. And if it was just a men's salon, heck, I would do it. I don't have predominantly a men's salon in my area. If I did, I would go. And there are ways to tweaking this. I've talked to a couple of the owners in other areas about doing this and calling one the Mug Club for unlimited shaves, things like that. So we really get in there and we customize packages specifically for that salon. But will this work with men? Absolutely. As a guy, I would love to have it. I wish there was an only men's salon closer to where I live.
Phil, going back to Phil's question about compensation of the stylist on membership services, and you went into the bonus for the sign-up. Phil says, so the bonus is paid on the sign-up only, nothing residual on the ongoing monthly fees.
That is correct.
Okay, Phil, so that's a one-time bonus, and you can make that bonus whatever you want to make it.
It could be $100. It could be whatever, whatever that owner chooses. But look, if you made it $100 and that person only signed a person a day up for that week, that's $500 extra for that week.
So the numbers do.
The numbers don't lie; they work. Andrew, when we opened our second salon, the 30-chair salon, we had a job fair out front, and the only place we advertised it was on a local job type board. We didn't go crazy. We had lines of stylists wanting jobs with us. The reason that is manyfold, but a lot of talented stylists go out of the industry for breaks, whether it be to have a child, a move, things like that. They don't want to sit around for 2 years to build a following. They want that guaranteed salary. And they might be a top stylist. So in this system, it's easy to get them.
So a couple of couple of things before we wrap up. One of the big concerns that owners have today is the expansion. It's not in every state, mind you. It's the expansion of what we'll call the booth rental, the independent contractor. How does this system help combat, if at all, the booth rental?
Okay, that's an easy one. We'll take, for example, we have a salon up in Rhode Island that's using our system, and Rhode Island allows booth rental.
Okay.
So basically, as she gets busier, she pushes the booth renters right out the door. She'd rather bring on a new stylist, put them on for the membership, make the higher profit margins, and make that stylist make money, and push the booth renter out the door. Go open your own place. That's how it combats it. Most places keep booth renters because they can't make the rent, and they're worried about having that empty chair. Now you have a system that can fill that chair, and I mean fill it quickly with members. That why should I have a booth renter in my place? If they're paying me $1,000 a week, I might have one. But if they're not paying me $1,000 a week and they're paying what the average is, I would say, which I think is about $250 a week. I'm not sure on that figure. I'd have to check on it, but from my mind, that sounds about right. And I would much rather make $1,000 or $2,000 a week on that one chair than to have a booth renter paying me $250.
And on the flip side, how could this help help the owner retain people who are entertaining the idea of becoming a booth renter?
Well, if we sat down and showed them the figures on how much they could make in the system, it's much easier to work for somebody and make the money than to have all those responsibilities of being an owner. Because along with booth rental comes all the responsibilities of being an owner if they're doing it properly. It means insurance. It means the possibility of getting audited. Things like that. That all stays with the owner, and they make the money they want to make in the industry without the responsibility of an owner.
So it's in the educational phase that you help the owner with. If an owner has someone who's sitting on the fence who wants to leave, you can tell them the ins and outs of
Correct. One of the owners that we just recently finished up with, we met with several of her stylists who were apprehensive, and we showed them what they made last year versus what they would make with this system. The owner actually offered them the old pay versus the new pay and handed them 2 checks and said, choose which one you want. And guess which one they chose? They all chose the membership check.
So, Phil, again, thank you for being so active here, Phil. Phil has another question. Based on your experience, Derek, how many members per stylist can a salon handle?
125.
There you go.
And the way we got that figure is after 5 years of researching through the multiple salons that have used this system, frequency of visit. Based on frequency of visit, we know the average frequency of visit is 1.5 times a month per member. So that gave us the formula of 125 members.
There you go. I hope that answers your question, Phil. So we're coming to the end of the hour here. And if anyone has any more questions, please put them in the chat box. Derek.
Yes.
What, in wrapping it up, what do you have to say to the audience here?
Well, I have to say that the type of owner we are looking at to help is the person ready to make a change. If they're on the little wheel going round and round and thinking things are going to change, they're not. Einstein said a long time ago, if you're keep doing the same thing and expecting things to change, it never will. You have to be ready to think outside the box and do something that's different in our industry. And they can contact us for a free evaluation. There's no commitment. I or one of my staff will sit down and talk to them. If it's far away, we'll talk to them on the phone and tell them what we can do, perhaps do for them. Maybe we can't do anything for them. There are salons out there making good profit margins. The majority aren't. The majority are being held hostage by their stylists. So we can step in and we can help them.
And I'm just thinking, and we didn't touch on this, but I'm sure the audience is thinking, well, this all sounds terrific, but what does it cost?
Okay, so basically the cost is only the cost of the software up front, and then what we do is we charge a percentage of membership sales. What we want to do is we want to make sure they're successful before we make successful money. Again, it's almost like becoming a partner. So basically we charge 6% of their membership sales, and that's the cost for 24/7 support and us turning their salon around.
So if there are no membership sales, God forbid, and it doesn't work.
Then they just pay for this. Then they just pay for our software.
Pay for the software, and if there are membership sales, then it's 6% of those membership sales. So it sounds very, very, very reasonable. It sounds like there's
Andrew,
very little risk.
Yeah, one thing I've seen in the industry is a lot of companies go in and say, we're going to charge you, let's say, $10,000 to consult. If an owner is already struggling with money, how are they going to pay $10,000? Okay? If we're only charging on a percentage of the new business we bring them, because if they're not a membership salon, we're bringing them new business.
Got it.
So it's fair for both parties.
Got it. One last question. I think it's a very important question because in the business, at least in my experience, one of the big traps is that the owner gets into the business. She's usually a technician. She's usually the big booker. And if she's not there, nothing really happens. And even if she's there, not much happens. How does this Salon Ops program solidify the ability to sell the salon as a business?
That is the fun part. Number one, the clients don't necessarily belong to a certain stylist anymore. They are a client of the salon. They are a member of the salon. So we encourage them to use multiple stylists because, hey, who knows who might be out sick, who might be pregnant, vacation, whatever the case might be. So that it works with that. We teach them how to do that. Secondly, when you have a membership base, you now have guaranteed income. So you are selling a base. Let's say you have $100,000 a month in membership fees coming in. Now, if you put that salon up for sale, that's $1.2 million a year. Now, based on what businesses should sell for, you should be able to sell it for 1.5 times that. So you have something besides furniture that you're guaranteeing. I mean, the goal of most business owners is at some point to sit and watch their business make them money or retire. Now you have a way to do that. You have a way to step out from behind a chair, teach your stylists how you like things done because you're now making money. And when you finally decide to sell that business, whether you want to sell it to somebody that works for you or outside, you now have something concrete to sell.
Yeah, you have as you have not just a business. When people are buying a business, it's just been my experience, they are looking for a cash flow.
Correct. This is a guaranteed cash flow.
So that is in addition to the location and all those things. What you're selling is a cash flow, and you can get a multiple
accounts receivable. You could go out and get a loan tomorrow. If I had $100,000 a month coming in, you could get a loan for that $100,000 on your accounts receivable.
Yes, you can. And so this has many facets to it. Thank you, Elaine, for asking that question. It's a very important question, and one that you want to further explore with Derek. And to get a hold of Derek, what you'll do is email him at admin@salonops.com, or you can visit www.salonops.com, and they have a drop-down box. You can put your name and email address in there and ask for more information, or the good old-fashioned way, we still use a telephone. You can call him at 848-992-9733. And so I want to thank everyone for attending today. It's been an eye-opener, I'm sure, for a number of people. And we will have this as a replay for those of you who didn't have the opportunity to see the presentation today. And Derek, I want to thank you very much for being with us and sharing with us what is a revolutionary, although some may call it evolutionary, I'll call it a revolutionary way of approaching the salon business so that you indeed do have a business rather than just a job.